Hello and welcome to Procrastination Points video Snark. I'm currently reading through The Betrothed by Kiera Cass. This is not the first video of this book, so I'd recommend that you watch the other videos before you start this. Links are posted below. Chapter 15. Hollis later complains to Jameson about how awful that Valentina is. Jameson agrees and promises that they'll be out of the kingdom soon enough, but in the meantime they have to put up with the visiting royals. But unfortunately, I have to be at dinner tonight with Quentin to talk through a few deals and trades. Things that would bore you, so go ahead, spend the night with your ladies. This is hardly convincing anybody that Hollis isn't just some empty-headed arm candy for Jameson. Now that Hollis has permission to avoid Valentina, Hollis tells Nora and Delia that she isn't feeling well. As they're leaving the Great Hall, Hollis sees her parents, and the book has to remind us once again that her parents are miserable, awful people who hate their daughter. Hollis then asks for Nora to round up some other ladies to make the evening a bit better. She also extends an invitation to the Eastoff family if they want to escape from their former king in her new apartments. And then she asks for somebody to have a musician brought up. I see no way that Hollis's merrymaking when she's supposed to be sick is going to backfire. I would say if I thought that this novel was well written. So they set up for a mini-party in Hollis's new sitting room. The other court girls show up, as well as the Eastoff family and the people that they were talking with earlier. Silas Eastoff walked in the door, and there went my heart skipping as if being trapped in my chest was just too far away for comfort. Okay, but why is she reacting like this? I mean, at this point I'm down for a love triangle just because it would mean literally anything happening, but it would also have been nice if the narration could have freaking remembered to have told us that Hollis was starting to catch feelings for Silas before this exact second. Hollis makes a joke about the Eastoff family hiding out in her apartments for the duration of King Quentin's stay in Corona. And then they start to dance. Hollis watches as the other girls dance and then notices that Silas is watching her. She asks if he dances, but he says no, that the only one in his family who dances is Eaton, aka the young man from the previous chapter who threw all of that shade on Hollis for being empty-headed arm candy for Jameson. And Hollis doesn't want to dance with him, obviously. Which thankfully gave me time to clamp down the growing smile on my face. What was it about Silas Eastoff that turned the air in the room into something sweeter? He made everything feel easy. Words came out clearer, thoughts became less foggy. I hadn't realized people could do that, could make everything sharper. And I see now that we're at the part of the story where I start screaming at the characters to just bang and put the readers out of their misery. They continue to dance for a while. Silas then tries to get the attention back on him by bringing up the castle's stones. No, really, I'm not kidding. He talks about how all of the stones in the buildings in Iceland have these blue and green flecks in them, but the stones in Corona have warm-hued flecks in them. And I will be the first to admit that I do love architecture and reading about it, but this is a little too much, even for me. Can we please just get to whatever the point is? Silas talks for a while about how he enjoys simple things. At one point, he even asks Hollis if she'd exchange her jewels for flowers. And it's just so pointless. There is literally nothing happening. They might as well be talking about the weather. Actually, let's go back to talking about those bricks, shall we? Mercifully, Silas's mom calls him away and we can get back to the actual plot. Hollis goes over to where Eaton is scowling by the window. He would honestly rather be literally anywhere else and makes a point to tell Hollis as much. But this is a little too much plot for Hollis, so she quickly leaves. She rejoins Delia and Nora and says that the two of them need to make a dance for Crowning Day. Hollis then asks Scarlet if she's heard of Crowning Day, and proceeds to explain that it's a holiday to celebrate when a king took the throne. Which, yes, this is a good time to do this, and I honestly don't mind because it seems like an interesting holiday. And yes, I'm still bitter that the author jumped into the middle of a romance between Hollis and Jameson and then halfway through the stupid novel decided to give us the story of how they met. As Hollis explains things to Scarlet, she decides that it sounds like fun. Furthermore, she agrees to help them choreograph a dance for Jameson. Chapter 16. Hollis wakes up the next morning, eager for the tourney. Delia lies with her in bed for a moment and they talk about the possibility of Jameson riding. However, he says that he needs to be with Quentin, and they both laugh over the thought of the man toppling over should he attempt to wear full armor. And then the most important decision ever, what Hollis is going to wear. And I'm not sure that I'm going to stop nagging on the book that Hollis is nothing but an empty-headed arm candy when the book itself is the one who dropped the idea into my head. And I know that it's important to look your best, but come on. This book focuses so much on Hollis's physical appearance at any given time. Hollis fusses over the idea of presenting a token. She knows that she probably won't give one away since Jameson isn't writing, but she still tucked a handkerchief up her sleeve just in case. Nora comes back from a trip to the seamstress. She complains that they're too far away. Hollis promises to install one closer to their rooms. The three of them go outside where Hollis runs into Silas in full armor. Jameson might not be writing, but Silas apparently is. Hollis can't help but note that Silas isn't wearing the red of Corona nor the blue of Isolate. Hollis then sends Norendelia on ahead while she continues to talk with Silas. He says that he wants to honor both of his kings, both past and present. Hollis asks Eaton, standing next to Silas, why he isn't participating. As usual, Eaton is the best character. I do not play at wars, my lady. I fight real ones. A lance and a blunted sword don't frighten me. Silas explains that his cousin keeps volunteering for the Isolate military and often fights along the Corona-Isolate border. Well then, you have my admiration for your courage and my compassion for the sacrifices I'm sure you've made. He sneered at me. I don't need either. Not from you. Literally, the best thing to come from this book. Eaton storms off, but Hollis can't make one last passing remark about him. Silas is like, You tried. Eaton had called me an ornament. Delia Grace took every opportunity to remind me I was a poor student and my parents, well, they found endless fault with me, but Silas kept catching things that I didn't know about myself. He said he liked the way I thought, and he was right. I had plenty of good ideas, and he said that I had tried, and he was right about that too. I had a hard time giving up. Hey, want to know who else supports you, Hollis? Your fiancé. There was some unnameable thing I felt when I was near Silas, like there was a string connecting us, pulling on me if I wandered too far. Ugh. As Hollis leaves Silas behind, she takes out the handkerchief and drops it onto the ground before she continues up to the royal box. They watch the games and make awkward small talk with Quentin and Valentina. Valentina is curt and short with her answers, never saying anything beyond a simple yes or no. Hollis kind of exchanges a, you see what I mean, look with Jameson over the entire thing. Silas comes out and Hollis points him out to Jameson. She explains to him about how Silas refused to wear colors. They watch as he enters his round, but he's not that good, having said to Hollis earlier that he's better at making swords than wielding them. As he's running around, Hollis notes that Silas had picked up her dropped handkerchief. She hopes that Jameson doesn't notice, or if he does, that he doesn't think much of Silas's token. It was a thrilling and delicious secret. I see no way that this could possibly go wrong for Hollis. However, as the match continues, Quentin gets randomly upset and demands to know where Silas's colors are. He screams that Silas is from Iceland, despite Jameson pointing out that the Eastoff family defected. Quentin works himself up into quite the rage over it. Up until that point, Valentina had just been sitting there quietly, thinking everything beneath her. However, Quentin's yelling is upsetting her, so Hollis takes her down from the box. They have a pretty sweet moment when they're like, men, am I right? I've caught Quentin in a few conversations where he tried to get the person he was speaking with to consider the other side of the argument. He just wants people to think. Except that Quentin yelling that Silas isn't wearing colors is the exact opposite of making people think. Quentin just comes off as a psycho who throws a fit like a toddler whenever he can't get his way. Before Hollis and Valentina can bond anymore, Quentin comes down and drags Valentina away. Jameson says that the tourney is over and Quentin would rather leave than be insulted. Hollis just feels bad for Silas, who was trying to be Switzerland but ended up just making things awkward. Then she gets angry on Silas's behalf. There was no reason for Quentin to have thrown a hissy fit like that, and don't take it on Silas, who has honestly made his position very clear simply by moving to Corona in the first place. Jameson, well, he has this to say. You don't have to worry about this. You don't have to think so hard. All you need to do is show Corona how good a queen you can be, and upstage that girl of Quentin's. Literally nothing matters except looking pretty and being better than Valentina. I was left feeling small. Jameson had never been unhappy with me before. He'd never corrected me before. Then again, I'd never really shared my opinion before. Was Eaton right? Was I an ornament? Jameson literally just told you to leave the thinking to him. He literally looked you in the eye and said not to think about things like this. Hollis just feels insanely bad about the entire thing. Not only did Silas accidentally cause an international incident with King Manchild, but she also got yelled at, and now she's downing everything in her life up until this point. She goes to find Jameson and finds him being tended to by his family. She asks if he's finished with the gifts for Quentin. Silas agrees, but says that they were never instructed on when to present these gifts. Hollis says that she needs to write a letter to Valentina. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss anything. Also, while you're waiting for the new video next week, be sure to catch up on my other video series. If you're already caught up with that, then you can head over to Tumblr for my main book Snarks, always free and updated daily. People who support me on Patreon also have early access to my daily Snark, but also bonus Snark that isn't up anywhere else. People who donate to me either by supporting me on Patreon or by making a one-time donation via PayPal or Ko-fi also get shoutouts in my videos. Thank you so much to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me already. Be sure to join my Patreon or donate to hear your name next week. Also, if you want to read some of the stuff that I've published, and you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have 19 erotic short stories, 1 short story collection, and 1 full-length novel. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys! But unfortunately, I have to be at dinner tonight with Quentin to talk through a few Jameson might not be right. Jameson might